Hello, everybody. Great to be with you again. My name is Fred Davis. I'm the editor of AwakeningClarityNow.com, and this is another Clarity Talk. Our topic for today is integrity of intention. If I do 1,000 videos, I'll never do one on a more important topic than this one. Integrity of our intention is the single greatest encourager of initial awakening. It is the single greatest encourager of coming back to awakeness if we've had an awakening and then find ourselves in either what we call misidentification or oscillation. And it is far and away the most important encourager as to whether we enter abiding awakening or not. When I say abiding awakening, that means I'm awake right now, that there's been a really good pattern of being awakeness having been here, and it means that unless there's some sort of fundamental change, odds are good that this unit will be in abiding awakening, so to speak. It's actually the thing inhabiting the unit, but I know what it looks like. So we can say that this unit will be in abiding awakening tomorrow, but we don't know that. There's no guarantees. It's only are we awake right now or not. And the way that we get used to that is that we practice being awake. And this sounds crazy, but that's what we really do. We just practice being ourselves. That's all we ever. That's really about the only thing we can do is that is directly involved with awakening. In other words, practices are great. I mean, they may also be great encouragers of awakening. Meditation is an encourager. Inquiry is an encourager. I'm sure that singing and dancing and chanting and all of that stuff, I know drumming, all of that is an encourager of awakening. Being around like-minded people is an encourager of awakening, but there's no encourager of awakening that holds a candle to the integrity of our attention. So we don't like this topic too much because what we're actually wanting to do, most of us, is we're actually wanting to acquire awakening for the ego. And that's just the truth of it. I mean, there's nothing, I understand that. And that was my goal. I mean, so I'm not like pointing out your flaws, I'm pointing out mine. And I wanted to acquire awakening for the benefit of my ego. I was hoping that if I was awake, that you would treat me better. I was hoping that if I was awake, that my dream, my life situation would get better. I was hoping that if I was awake, that maybe I could get a real good gig out of it or something like that. I mean, I just wasn't. I wanted to be awake for the sake of awakeness, but not so much. What I really wanted was I wanted to acquire awakening for the benefit of better dreaming. And when that's my intention, guess what? That's what I really got for a long time, which was that I would get blips, and then I could go around and I could increase my spiritual story, if not to others that they listen before they quit listening, and always to myself, which is, man, I'm really getting there. Man, this is great. I'm getting wiser and wiser and wiser and wiser, and awakening is right around the corner. But let me tell you something, folks. If I had a football stadium right now, and I crammed 100,000 spiritual teachers in there, or seekers in there, 100,000 spiritual seekers, and I came out as the great masterful teacher, and I said, I've got a special teaching for you tonight, and that special teaching is only for some of you, not for all of you by any means, just some of you. And what I want is for all of you who feel like awakening is right around the corner to raise your hands. That's the only people that are going to get taught this thing. And 100,000 hands will go up in the air. Everybody feels like enlightenment is right around the corner. We just can't get to the corner. And we feel that way also if we're in oscillation, because we know something now. Our mind knows something now. And we know we'll get that back again as soon as we get through with this. This is really important. This thing that we're doing, that's what's really critical to us. And it doesn't make any difference what that is. Whether it's winning a partner or getting an A or tending to our high-powered job or tending to our low-powered job. For that matter, it makes no difference. It doesn't. Anything that pulls us away from this, and it's fine. Go dream better. I'm not saying don't. But what I am saying is don't go do that and expect this. See? Is that because what happens is my mouth says one thing and my activity says another. And the only thing that is change it. Our mouth, there's nothing I can say with my mouth that will change my spirituality. Nothing. I don't care if it's a prayer. I don't care if it's an inquiry. I don't care if it's a mantra. There's nothing I can say with my mouth that is going to directly encourage my awakening. It may encourage some sort of conditions that might lead toward, okay, so that's an indirect, but there's not anything I can do direct. The one thing that I can do direct is I can put my intention on awakening. I can put on my attention when I wake up. I can put my attention on staying clear, on getting clear and staying clear. And then what I can do is I can put my attention on abidance and embodiment, because that's what it's all about. The rest of this is really a sideshow, folks. I will tell you that in my own example, and this is about the only thing that I can share with you in which I shine. I don't have an enviable past. I've never hidden that. I was a creep, and for all my life, and I wasn't the worst guy in the world, but I was a long way from the best. So, but the one thing that I did do was once I got sober, that's what it really amounted to. Once I got sober, so that I could hold an intention. Do you see that? Because when I was drinking, I couldn't hold an intention. I had the intention of quitting drinking the next day for 25 years. So what do I know about intention when I'm a using addict? But once I got sober, clean and sober, then I had the ability to maintain an intention, and I put it on spirituality. Now, mind you, I shouldn't get a lot of credit for this because I had been living in the park and I was now in early recovery, and I had nothing left. It was the only place that I could win. That's the way I looked at it. I will never forget it. It was just the pledging of myself to this, and as a result, I then spent the next 6 years, the next 6.5 years, with my attention fully focused on a higher level of spirituality. I didn't even know what it meant. I didn't even know what it expected. I didn't even know what it was that I really wanted, but I knew that I wanted it. And I got it. I mean, I'm not saying that I directly did it. I didn't do it. You can't possibly do awakening. It happens or it doesn't, but you can encourage it mightily. And I put all of my intention. I had a very great integrity of intention. I put my attention on this. I didn't have a lot else. I'm not saying that I was particularly good. I'm just saying that's what happened. And after I woke up, what happened was I had been hoping that that was going to, cure my life situation, and it didn't. So once again, I still didn't have much, and I put all of my attention onto clearing. I wanted to get clearer and clearer because I noticed that waking up one time wasn't permanent, that it came and went. I was in oscillation. I was in misidentification. I kept thinking I was the body. I kept thinking I was the mind. And the fact is, I might be the body, but I'm certainly not limited to it. But I'm not the mind, that's for sure. So then as clarity began to manifest in a very deep and broad way, then guess what? I put all of my enthusiasm into teaching this, and that's the reason you're watching this, is the fact that a lot of intention has gone into producing these videos, into producing my websites, into producing the books and all that stuff. I mean, that's paying attention to the most important thing, because that's really our key here. Are we willing to keep the most important thing as the most important thing? And most of us aren't. Most of us want to sublimate that. Most of us want to acquire enlightenment so that we can dream better and higher, and it's just a really much better thing, and that's fine. That's fine, but you're not going to get here. Just not going to get here. So you can't. I mean, because you're not going to get here by grace. See, that's the gift is given, but the rest of it is earned, folks. We earn enlightenment after awakening, because really we can talk about enlightenment as being the ability, having broken through the gateless gate, and that's sort of true. And I use that term a lot, but the fact is that the clarity term that I use, that's all work. That's all work, and it's all process, and it's all being willing to put the time and effort into clearing. And it means that I'm going to get what I want, and if what I want is if I want my sweetheart the most, I'm just surely going to get her. I may be miserable when I get her, but I'm going to get her. And if I want a high-powered job the most, I'm going to get it. I may be miserable when I get it, but I'm going to get it. I may not be able to hang on to it. I may lose it when I get it. That used to happen to me all the time. That's what happens with manifesting, is that we convince ourselves that this house and car and wife and everything else that we've got on our goal sheet. I used to have all this stuff, folks, and our goal board and in all of our self-talk, which is I'm beautiful and wonderful. I deserve everything that I get. I tell you, I deserved everything I got, and it was beautiful and wonderful. But I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying that it doesn't have anything to do with this, because what happens is that the manifesting will bring us what we want most, but it just isn't going to. But it's not going to bring us what we think we want most. If we want $1 million, it may bring it to us. We will not be able to hang on to it if it's not what we want most. If we want spirituality most, we're going to chuck all that stuff and come back here. Or we're not going to chuck it. We're going to hang on to it and come back here. You don't have to chuck all your stuff, man. Hang on to it. God Almighty. Can you imagine going to heaven and having St. Peter say, "Hey, man, where's your stuff?" I didn't think I could bring everything. Hell yeah, we all got our stuff up here. We're sorry you left yours. So you can borrow some of our stuff if you want. But so the main thing, stuff doesn't matter. See, once again, it's all about the integrity of intention. Stuff doesn't matter. Money doesn't matter. Whether you eat meat or doesn't matter until it does. None of these things matter until they do. Whether you rob banks or not doesn't matter until it does. All of this stuff is, we just become as clarity, as awakeness colonizes the body, then the body tends to get a little sleeker and sleeker, at least in terms of its behavior. And the things that it does that it saw as being okay yesterday just don't become okay today, and it stops. It does not that I make the decision. Well, now I'm gonna push down all my desires. I'm never gonna look at another woman with any lust. I mean, good luck. I'm never gonna eat meat again. I eat meat when I don't go after meat, but I eat meat when I'm in the situation where it's called for. It's the idea that I need to cut my hair a certain way, I need to change my name, I need to put on certain robes, and all of that stuff. That's all egoic, every bit of it. I'm sorry to tell you that, and I understand that it is. I'm not saying it's without purpose, but I'm saying that it's not going to directly change anything. It can make us actually worse, because then we can think, man, now I've got strange name and robes. I'm really holy. And the problem is that the I that's really holy is the thing that's standing in between me and holiness. So if your job is in the way, find another job. If your job's not in the way, hang 10. Just stick with what you're doing and embrace this. I'm not saying that the majority of your time has to go here, but I'm going to tell you that at some point it may be that the majority of your time has to come here. It's what I do, you'll notice, every day, all day now. But fortunately, I get paid for it now, but I didn't used to. For many, many, many years, I did not. Even when I was teaching, I didn't get paid. So I had to do what I was doing, which was I had to spend most of the time in my book business, but I taught a hell of a lot when I wasn't packing books. I will tell you that. And it paid off. See, I had no regret about any of that. And thank God I did it. Thank God all the bad things happened to me that happened to me, because without them I wouldn't be awake. So I was willing to go. I was willing to live. See, the thing is that we think that the model of our sincerity is that we're willing to die for this thing. Well, the fact is, very few of us are. But what I will tell you, what's much more difficult even than dying for this thing is living for it. See, dying is actually just a way out. It's just another way out. What we want to do is we want to find out, how do I really live this thing? That's what working with a teacher will help you to find out. That's what we're working. You don't have to have a teacher. You can do it on your own. I did much of it on my own. I didn't do it very successfully until I got a teacher, but I did it. Very few of us can free ourselves, folks. Very few of us can clear ourselves. The mind cannot clear the mind. It has to happen in a different fashion. We can use the mind to go beyond the mind, but very few of us will be able to do that on our own. I wish you the very best. Really look at that intention. Please look at that intention. It can be nothing more important than that. It's a beautiful day.